Have you ever stopped to think that Marvel spent decades hiding a brutal truth about a truth so heavy they had to rewrite the story multiple times to soften the impact of what really happened that day in 1973? Gwen Stacy didn't die at the hands of the Green Goblin. She died at the hands of Peter Parker. And before you close this video thinking I've lost my mind, stay with me here, because what I'm about to tell you changed not just Spider-Man forever, but the entire comic book industry. And Marvel did everything they could to make sure you didn't notice what was right there, drawn on the pages. It was June 1973. The world of superheroes was a safe place. The good guys always won. The villains always lost. And the heroes' girlfriends. They got kidnapped, sure, but they were always rescued at the last second. That's how it worked. That's how it had to be. Until Gary Conway, a 20-year-old writer, decided it wouldn't be that way anymore. You know that feeling when you're reading something and suddenly your stomach drops? It's like the floor disappears beneath your feet. That's exactly what millions of readers felt when they opened The Amazing Spider-Man issue 121. The Green Goblin kidnaps Gwen. Stacy takes her to the top of the George Washington Bridge. Spider-Man arrives to save the day like he always did. The Goblin throws Gwen off the bridge. Peter fires his web, catches her by the ankle, and then comes the moment Marvel tried to hide for decades. Pay attention to the drawing right there. Very small, almost invisible. There's a sound effect, SNAP, the sound of something breaking her neck. Peter's web, that same web that saved hundreds of people, was what killed Gwen Stacy. The sudden stop, the speed of the fall, the cruel physics of reality. It wasn't the Green Goblin. It was the hero trying to be a hero. Imagine Peter in that moment. He pulls her body up thinking he saved the love of his life. And when she reaches him, when he finally holds her in his arms, she's already dead. And deep donk, he knows. He knows. He knows it was him. Marvel panicked. The editors didn't know how to handle the fans' reaction. Letters came in by the thousands. Furious readers, crying readers, readers who never wanted to read a comic again in their lives. It was like someone had killed a member of their family. And then came Marvel's PR machine trying to fix the damage. In the following issues, characters said Gwen was already dead when she was thrown, that the shock killed her before the fall, that the Goblin had done something to her. Lies. Gary Conway himself confirmed it years later. The intention was always clear. Peter Parker, the hero who can't save everyone, finally found his ultimate tragedy. And the worst part, he caused it. Not on purpose, of course. But guilt doesn't ask if you had good intentions. You know what's heaviest about all this? The decision to kill Gwen didn't come out of nowhere. Conway was frustrated. He felt the relationship between Peter and Gwen had reached a dead end. They were too perfect for each other. No conflict, no real drama, none of that tension that makes you turn the page wanting to know what happens next. But he didn't want to just end the relationship. That would be cowardly. If he was going to end Gwen Stacy, it would be in a way no one would ever forget. And no one forgot? This story marks the end of what experts call the Silver Age of comics. That period when heroes were invincible, when good always triumphed, when stories were colorful and light. After Gwen Stacy, everything changed. Comics grew up. Suddenly, it was allowed to show that heroes fail, that people really die. That not every story has a happy ending. Spider-Man carries this guilt to this day. In every version, in every universe, in every movie and cartoon, that shadow exists. When you watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and see that scene of Gwen falling, Now you understand the weight. That moment isn't just an action scene. It's 50 years of trauma being reenacted. And look closely at the film. The web catches her, but the impact still happens. The film's writers knew exactly what they were doing. There's something few people talk about regarding this story, the impact it had on Peter Parker himself as a character. Before Gwen died, he was a hero who carried the guilt of Uncle Ben's death. A guilt he turned into motivation. With great power comes great responsibility. But after Gwen, now he carries 2 deaths. And the second one is worse, because with the first, he failed by omission. He let the robber escape. But with the second, he failed by action. He tried to save her and couldn't. He did everything right, and it still went wrong. That breaks a person in a different way. That's why the Peter Parker of modern comics is so different from that optimistic kid in the 60s. He laughs, he cracks jokes, he's still the friendly neighborhood hero. But beneath all that is a man who truly knows, that sometimes your greatest efforts aren't enough. And Marvel. Well, Marvel tried to fix Gwen's death in various ways over the years. Clones, alternate universes, variants, Spider-Gwen, who became one of the most popular characters in recent times. It's like they were constantly trying to redeem themselves for that 1973 decision. But the damage was done, and maybe that's for the best, because stories that hurt are stories that matter. Narratives that push us out of our comfort zone are the ones that stay with us forever. Gwen Stacy died over 50 years ago, and we're still here talking about her, feeling the weight of that loss. How many characters can say the same? Spider-Man killed Gwen Stacy. Not on purpose, not out of malice. It was because sometimes life is cruel like that. Sometimes you do everything right and still lose.